I appreciate you taking a minute out to talk. We've spoke before, but now we're going to talk about a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Wharton Arts Gala. I mean, you've entered this period of your life where this
Yes, I
prodigious
have.
work that you produced in the world of jazz is all coming to fruition, and everybody wants to thank you. How does this lifetime of achievement feel?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm somewhat surprised. Um, I really don't think about uh, receiving recognition like this, although at the same time it's quite an honor, and it proves that every time talk to the students, you never know who's listening to you. So I've obviously I've been observed uh, enough to to have this wonderful organization give me this honor. It is wonderful. I mean, I am at that age now that I'm gonna have to own up to it, at some point. But this is really great, and I mean, I work with students. As a player, my I guess my career has been kind of 50-50 as a player and also as a teacher and dealing with education. I like to see the light go on when I talk to uh, young people who are really wanted.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I don't have a lot of patience for people who don't really want the information. It's maybe their lip service or something. Not sure. Uh, if I were, many of high school or even uh, people don't really, maybe they have to be there but they don't want to be there. I have difficulty with that. But other than that, people have been so kind to me over the years and taught me, and just a pat on the back. Keep it up. That's coming from the right person. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the one thing you're mentioning students, and the hallmark of the jazz elders is that they're keeping this torch going. They're keeping the art form strong and vital. And you've been around a lot of players and you've done a lot of projects. What is it that you like to really lend from your history of being in this world? What do you like to lend to students?
Well, I think it's very, very important that they notice that I still have the passion that I've had even as a young, burning, want to get to it. I may have it more than I did when I was younger. So I wish that upon them, that they can continue to have the passion that got them up to this point in their lives. Because there's so many things that we personally can't control. The individual has to have he or she's goal. This is what they want. They want it. They feel it. It's it kind of gets the juices flowing in their body, and I call it the hunger of the satisfaction of just being involved in this music, that we call jazz now. Just being a creative person. It's particularly in our society, um, the arts aren't really, and it surprises me so much because whether a person wants to be a professional musician, that's a whole nother game. Um, but to have the music in their lives, throughout their lives, they're able to contribute to other forms of disciplines like no other person because to be a player, you have to learn to conform, you have to like follow, uh, and yet if you're strong enough, you can lead, but you understand the big picture. And I think being a musician is proved. It has been proven in the quote unquote corporate world. The the students or the people who have applied, they ones who have music in their uh, that they play or they've had it in their lives to a great deal of extent, uh, they offer more. They can bring more to the table
Yeah.
to these companies, you know. And I think it's very, very obvious, but for some reason, it's still a hard nut to crack, you know. And that being said, the kudos to the organization like Wharton Arts because they are reaching out and working beyond the schools. Because, you know, when I was in school, in high school, in junior high and high school in Sacramento, California, we couldn't, our family couldn't afford me to have private lessons or whatever, but the schools had teachers come to us twice a week and work and study and uh, basically they gave it everything to us. And my teachers in junior high school and high school, I kept up with them until they passed. And they were following my career. They were as proud as me as I was. And then I realized how much they gave me. You know, in retrospect, you don't really, sometimes you don't really know what you're being given
Yeah.
when you're giving it, particularly when you're young. But I've been blessed, and Sacramento, California, the school systems in the late '50s and early '60s, they were really pretty good. But it seems like ever since then, you know, the money gets snatched from the schools, and the kids take the blunt of that. You
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You're igniting a lot of fires in students as a living legend.
know, I
Who
hope.
was that? Who was that in your life? A player or players that really lit the fire in you that made you really go for it and want to be in there?
Well, before I became, when I was in high school, there were a couple of classmates that were, to me, they were stars because, you know, I used to play the trumpet and I wasn't really that great of a trumpet player, but I was given skills and all this. And there was one guy named Bob Steen. He was a saxophonist, but he also played clarinet, and he ended up playing bassoon and all. And when he got out of high school, he went directly to Juilliard, and that man, he was the star of the school. I said, "Wow," you know. And then there was another friend of mine who's still playing right now. His name is Vin Latiano. He's a drummer, and he went on the road with a piano player long ago, and we thought that was the end. It was Carmen Caballero or something like that. But he was working and traveling all over the world, and he had just got out of high school, and he's become one of the sought after stalwarts of the musicians in San Francisco today.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, and he talks about what we were given when we were in high school. So those two people were really inspirational. As a professional, Eddie Harris was the guy. He was my first boss, but he taught us so much: business, integrity, um, work ethic. Two things: just be on time and be able to play. That sounds pretty simple.
Yeah.
But back then it wasn't so simple, I think, for a lot of people. Uh, and he taught us how to record. He taught us how to, we played blues, we played ballads, we played funk, we played avant-garde. We did everything, except it just had to be what it was. And we would do, he taught us not to be afraid of music, any kind of music. You can play it, but you can't put it down if you can't play it, you know. So I mean, there's a lot in there, you know.
Yeah. So after all of these decades of playing and recording, what are you the most grateful for? What do you wake up thankful for every day?
Oh boy, that I still have the ability to play and to think about the music and to be curious. Um, I've been composing a lot, particularly in the last 25 years, and like never before. And oh man, it's like another career in a sense. I I love the process. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to play with and perform and record these new pieces of music um, that, in some instances, have become classics. And I said, "Well, how do they do that?" And so I've been intrigued about it for years. And then I got involved with this BMI Composers Workshop, and they taught me, well, what do you want to write for? I said, what do you want? What do you mean, what do I want? You know, what we do is we play music for marching bands, we play bar mitzvahs, we play weddings, we for television, for movies, etc. And we weren't going to do any of those. And he says, just write what you want to write. It took me a year to understand what it was that I liked.
Yeah.
I didn't have to appease anybody, you know, but, and that was really difficult, you know, because the average lay person, we live very prescribed lives, everybody. And in fact, that's what keeps everything kind of together. But at the same time, uh, for you to think about, well, how would you like, if everybody goes this way, I want to go that way, you know. And when I met Eddie Harris, he did that. It was amazing. And people that we know of, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, you know, these people were going the opposite from the norm. And that's why they become who they are. You
Yeah.
know? And it's amazing.
It is amazing. So I recently talked to Chris Rottmeyer and you were on his album, and I know that you're still really active. What's going on with you these days as far as like recordings and composing and shows?
Well, I just got back from London, literally 2 days ago, and I was there for a week performing with the Guildhall School of Music with my big band music. And then shortly after that, the gentleman who brought me over, Scott Stroman, wanted to record. So I recorded, it'll be an album probably sometime next year to come out. And we did that. And of course, tomorrow I'm on my way to New Orleans to be with. I do this workshop at Ravinia every summer, and there's a group that's on tour, and I'm joining them for the weekend. Um, but right now I'm in the middle of a commission that I have to. I should be not talking to you at all. I should be writing now. You know, I'm been very blessed that somehow my compositions are resonating with people, and I got a premiere of a string orchestra piece last August, and they loved it enough that they commissioned me to write something for this coming August. So I'm in the middle of this, and to me, it's like super pressure, but exciting and daunting at the same time. And and then I'm playing, the students with the Wharton Arts organization are going to play one of my compositions at the gala, and also at the NJPAC in April. So I'm I'm happy. I'm busy, and yet it's very exciting. You know, to consider the alternative. Of not having anything to do. Um, I can't say that. I'm very pleased. Yeah.
So the great David Bassi, the other day we were talking, and he found some pictures of you in the late
Oh,
70s in Kansas City at a concert series in the park that we used to have. Talk to me a little bit about your history of coming to Kansas City and your history of playing and being here.
wow. Well, I think that when I came to Kansas City, it was a jazz festival or something, and I met Thad Jones, who was there. And of course, I've known about the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra before, but he was there by himself, and I got a chance to meet him and play with him. I forget all the people that were on that festival, but it was a lot of fun, and we were assigned to play together. And so after we finished, Thad came up to me. He says, "You need to be in New York." I said, "Well, I want to go. I was living in Chicago at the time, and Chicago was extremely good to me, and that's where I finished school at Northwestern and all that. But that it was so much fun. And after we finished playing, he said, "Let's go get some ribs." I said, "Okay," you know.
Yes.
And and my first really big gig in New York City, I was visible with the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra, and um, it was thrilling. For almost 3 years, I played with him just before they split, and he went to Europe, and that was very exciting.
Yeah.
But I don't have, to be honest, I haven't really spent a lot of time in Kansas, Kansas City, and but I do remember that very well
Yeah.
because that, and it ended up where I live in Teaneck, New Jersey. That's where Thad lived. That's
Okay.
where J.J. Johnson lived. That's where um, J. McCoy Tyner lived. There's a lot of people here, and I didn't know that at the time. Uh, but because I really wanted to live in the city, but we weren't financially able to kind of get into that at the time. But my I wish I had more to tell you about Kansas City. I'd like to, um, but really good friends with Bobby Watson, and you know, he would keep me up to date sometimes of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's wonderful. And I just want to make sure everybody knows on March 7th, you will receive the prestigious Wharton Arts Gala Lifetime Achievement Award. Well received. Thank you, sir, for your time today. I'll let you get back to work.
Well, well, it's a real pleasure to speak with you, and it it just confirms that you never know who's listening to you, and if you really just do what you do and try to make a difference, not only in my life, but I enjoy being able to see young people, and it's really thrilling. Like for instance, I I I met John Patitucci when he was 15. And he didn't even know he was going to be John Patitucci that we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know. I never thought about me being Rufus Reid being like now, but he and I are still very close. He's a lovely person, but I I saw him glow. You know, the kids who are hungry, they have a glow that you can't not see,
Yeah.
and he's proof that he had the glow because he was able to sustain and become the personality that he is, not only on his instrument but as a human being. You know, so that's thrilling.
Yeah.
That's incredible payback.
Absolutely. Well, I know this music brings an incredible amount of comfort to me, all of my listeners, and I know that it's such a comfort. So I just want to congratulate you again and thank you for all of the glow and the light that you've sent out into the world, because it certainly has been legendary and very welcome. You changed a lot of lives. So Rufus, thank you. I really greatly appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate our time together.
Yes, sir. Thank you.